Okay, so this is the Dream 100 that I've kind of worked out. In a sense, there's really two things that you do. You're either digging your well, and once you have that well dug, which means, you have a lot of things to offer, value, there's a reason why people can interact with you, maybe a podcast, a vlog, or you've subscribed, you've friended, you've bought one of these Dream 100 people's products. Now, it doesn't mean you have to buy everything. It doesn't mean that you have to even buy it at all. It is a beneficial thing because you're going to know what these people are talking about, what makes them different, what their value propositions are. So that way you can speak a similar language. When you instantly pull out, for example, one of my Dream 100 is working with Richard Bandler. He's what I would consider an indirect competitor. And basically, I love his materials. I've watched probably everything he has. I've done everything outside of pay him, $5,000 or $6,000 to do a 3 or 6 day seminar with him. Now, Richard Bandler is a neuro-linguistic hypnotist. So he's the founder of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So amazing person to work with. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that I have to spend thousands of dollars to get to know him. It's just that I maybe need to buy one of his products, one of his books, read it. So that way when I communicate with him, I can say, boy, I loved your Frogs and Princes book in which you discussed, how to get rid of a bunch of your fears, especially when it comes to sales and marketing. That's helped me inside of my beginning roots of starting out online. So when you create these natural bridges where it's like, hey, I know who you are, I know what you've done, and here's how you've benefited me. I would love to work with you and benefit you as well. And then that's where you come in and you bring in your value. So your value often needs to be stated in a sense of, how is this going to help their community, the people that follow them? How is it going to make them look more like an authority inside of their industry or their niche? What you want to often do is think about that value proposition, because it's going to be more than just the terms of money. It's going to be more in terms of the actual benefits that people will receive. For example, if you have a weight loss program that's doing amazingly well, then it's kind of like the next Weight Watchers. You definitely have something on your plate where you're able to bring it to other individuals, maybe the body, weightlifting community. And you say, hey, if you're dealing with that extra fat around your gut, these exact diets, will get your, not only your testosterone up, but, it'll lower your carbs and it'll increase your adrenaline, and that will lead to better and harder and more fulfilling workouts. All of those types of things, that's a value proposition specifically directed towards weightlifting. So you want to really think on, what is the value that I'm establishing for these people? If you don't really find that you have any value within their industry, they're probably not going to be on your Dream 100 list. Or if they are really just someone that you've always wanted to work with, for example, I've always wanted to work with Bill Gates, but a lot of things that he doesn't really fit into what I do. So that means he's probably going to be lower on the list, even though if I got Bill Gates to work with me, or, one of his foundations to represent, or, kind of, in a sense, affiliate or pair up with me, that would still make me $1 million, no ifs, ands, or buts. But at the end of the day, I can't provide as much value to Bill Gates because I don't have things that, help his end user base. I don't, donate to charities that he does. The things that I'm helping people out with aren't vaccinations. They're more towards, curing different types of cancers, or, Candida albicans, or, different types of ailments. So that value proposition isn't quite as direct. I can't bridge it as well. So he's not going to be high up on my Dream 100. So you need to kind of think about this. Obviously, you're just going to lay out your list in a sense of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 100, and just nail down 100 names, period. And then you can start, shifting around. Well, this person should be higher up, that should be lower down. And after usually a day or two, you're going to have your Dream 100 list completed in the sense of, number one, I would love to work with this person first and foremost. You're probably not. So what I often suggest that you end up doing is starting somewhere lower on your list, the Dream 100, the people that are more obtainable. Now, again, some of those people lower on the list, like mine, maybe Bill Gates, because I don't have a value proposition that works as well. You may want to skip some of those people for a while until you have other people that have said yes. So, what you want to think about is really just starting to gather that list, finding people that are direct or indirect competitors. And I'll talk about what direct means versus indirect and give a few examples of that. Once you have a list of that gathered, you need to make sure that your bridge, your value proposition that you're giving to those people, you're going to obviously talk to them through your marketing materials, tell them how they have benefited you, but then your value proposition is how you can benefit them and all of their followers. Once you've done that, you've begun digging your well. Then we can move on to promotion. The promotion part is having packages, things that you send off in terms of actual direct mail, or little bonuses or lumpy mailers. Lumpy mailers I'll discuss, and different types of things that you can say inside an email, direct mail, communicating on social media. There's all different types of things that you can say and ways that you can kind of approach it. From there, you can work on what works for you, because what I'm going to be giving is more of an evergreen blanket statement. You come with this type of mentality and thought process, this type of angle in which you're viewing how to approach these people with your value proposition. That's what you need to think from. How you word that is all up to you. That needs to be your own expression. So outside of that, you can do a parasite, which is emailing, getting in contact via being a fan, being a customer, even marketing to their audiences is a way to get in their line or their line of sight or their eye line. And my favorite is direct mail. Direct mail is amazing because when you do direct mail, I suggest something that's lumpy. You're not going to be sending a little card in the mail, just kind of like that. You're going to be sending something like this, where it's, you open it up. It's not going to be a mailer where you just stick on top of everything else. It's going to have to be literally on the top of the stack. So if it's on the top of the stack, it's the first thing people open. And people love getting things like lumpy mailers in the mail, especially even when it's marketing materials. I used to do this for auto dealerships, selling them $2,000 and $5,000 a month SEO packages. And this is how I would get to them. I would, send them a little mini treasure chest, or I'd send them a bank bag saying, I would love to fill this bank bag with money for you. I used to send a little prepaid cell phone for 10 or 15 bucks per cell phone. It was worth it because these deals are going to end up netting you. Again, for me, it was $2,000 to $5,000 per month, and I had them sign a 1-year contract. So those were $25,000 to $60,000 contracts. Sending off a $10 or $15 cell phone to one of my leads was very much worth it, because at the end of the day, I could send 1,000 of those cell phones off. As long as one person said yes, I made more than my money back sending off 1,000 cell phones at $15 a pop. So that's a $15,000 investment. I get a $24,000 contract. I just made $9,000. So again, you got to keep in mind that some of these things may be costly, especially the lumpy mailers, but they're going to pay for themselves 10 or even 100 or even 1,000 times over. So that's the main idea. The other thing is joint venturing. Joint venturing is saying, hey, some people are in it for the money, especially if you're in a make money online niche. Then most of the people, their value proposition is just, I can make you some money. We've had good conversions. You usually want to get some numbers beforehand, and then you bring that to them and say, I would love to give you 80% of this, or even 90%, or even sometimes 100%. Why 100%, you may ask? Because if you have a value ladder, like I've discussed inside of Sales Funnel Secrets, then what you're going to end up having is a bunch of new customers. And while all the money went to somebody else, which means they didn't have to make a product, they didn't have to do anything, they didn't have to create the sales page, they didn't have to they get all the profits. But what you did get was a bunch of customers who have brought their credit card out, said, I trust you, I want this, and I'm ready to obviously participate and take hold of that. Now, once you have that, you have maybe 1,000 customers or even 5,000 customers from one of your Dream 100 lists. Now those 1,000 people that you have on your list that are buyers, you have their credit card information on hand, and you can simply rebill them for the next product they want, especially if you use ClickFunnels. It's just a one-click upsell. So now you send your next offer to those 1,000 people who have purchased. All 1,000 will not purchase the next product, but they will purchase something eventually because they're buyers. They've qualified themselves as buyers. And only about 10% of people online are buyers. So when you find those people, you hold on to them, And they may not buy the next thing that you offer, but they will buy one thing eventually because, again, they are buyers. So you send the next thing out. Guess what? Only 10% of those 1,000 buyers convert on your next product. Quite all right. The beautiful thing about that is maybe your next product is a $1,000 product or a $500 product. It's somewhere in your middle tier of your value ladder. When you do that, guess what? If you have 100 people convert at $1,000, then you just made $100,000. That's a huge, huge benefit. Now, out of those 100 people that bought that, maybe 2 or 5 of them go on and buy your coaching. Your coaching is valued at $10,000. So now 5 of those people convert, you just made $50,000. And that's from that initial Dream 100 of someone sending you their list. They get 100% of the profits, but you get all of the back end profits. And you can make, again, 6 figures just like that because you're telling people, hey, you bought, here's the next step of what to take, or here's a continuity that you can join for just $50 a month. And now, 100 people of that buy. So now you're getting $5,000 every single month as a residual continuity. That is a huge thing to have because you just have a $60,000 a year business, just like that. So it doesn't take every single person to buy again. It just means that you now have a list of people that you can remarket to who are available and willing to buy from you. So that's why joint ventures work, especially when you have joint ventures where it's like, I'll give you 100% of the profits. That's the strategic advantage to that. When you say, I'll do everything, I'll do the sales, just send out an email, you keep 100% of the profits, and it's a $37, $47, $97, $7 product, whatever it is, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to love this. And sometimes with like a free plus shipping, like my book, Sales Funnel Secrets, I will end up saying, hey, I'll give you $20 per book sold. So I'm giving them more than the value of the book. Why? Because I make money on my upsells. I make money on my order form bump. There's all different types of ways to get money back. And that's by, figuring out what your numbers are, bringing that to your Dream 100 list, and it's going to make it a much easier sell to these people. So that's kind of the overall ideas that you want to dig your well. You want to, get everything up front, get your list together, start friending these people, start subscribing to them, start following them, maybe buy a couple of their products. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. It can be their front end product, simple little book. That's your step or your foot in the door. Then from there, get a podcast, get a vlog, get something where you're giving value and people can then, from your Dream 100 list, come on. They can come onto your podcast and they can come onto your vlog and you can work with them and talk with them and interview them, and that gives you that connection. Then you want to introduce your value proposition. Your value proposition needs to have a certain frame of mind and an angle that you're working. So it's not that, your value proposition is better than anybody else's. It's that it's unique to everyone else's. So you can have the same thing, but still be unique. And I'm going to show you kind of how to do that and how to approach that idea. Additionally, once you do the packages, again, you're sending out different types of things from email to direct mail to, contacting them on social media, offering joint ventures, doing all different types of stuff. These are the types of promotions to get those Dream 100 people to become a client, to say yes, to want to affiliate with you. And that's going to change your business dramatically.